Walking the Walk, How Genuine Organizational Transformation Can Enhance DEI Initiatives Abstract. This article discusses how genuine organizational transformation can enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, initiatives to deliver meaningful results. The article suggests that standalone DEI programs are generally insufficient for driving sustainable cultural change. Instead, DEI needs to be embedded throughout an organization through systemic shifts in mindsets, processes, policies, and practices. The article outlines recommendations for advancing DEI through reimagining strategic vision and leadership behaviors, restructuring human resources systems and resource allocation, cultivating an inclusive culture and demonstrating continued commitment through action, progress measurement and issue response. Case examples from various industries are provided. The article argues that holistic organizational transformation integrating DEI into the fabric of the organization is key to authentically advancing diversity and inclusion. As a leadership consultant and researcher, having worked with organizations across various industries for the past 2 decades, one area that continues to be a challenge yet holds so much promise is how to authentically advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, efforts. While many companies now have DEI statements, task forces, and training programs in place, true progress often remains elusive. Through my work, I have seen that standalone initiatives are generally insufficient to drive sustainable cultural change. What is needed is organic transformation at the organizational level, a holistic, walk the walk approach where DEI becomes embedded into the fabric of an organization through systemic shifts in mindsets, processes, practices, and policies. Today, we will explore how genuine organizational transformation can enhance DEI initiatives to deliver real, meaningful results. Definitions and foundations. Before diving into specific recommendations, it is important to first define key terms and establish a theoretical foundation. While the concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusion are often used interchangeably, they refer to distinct yet interrelated dimensions of DEI work. Diversity involves representation across various social identity groups like gender, race, sexual orientation, disability status, etc. Equity focuses on fairness, justice, and the dismantling of systemic barriers that limit opportunities for advancement. Inclusion concerns culturally competent behaviors and an environment where all individuals can fully participate and authentically contribute their perspectives and talents. Robeson. 2006. Randall et al. 2018. Transformational change denotes deep, sustainable shifts across an organization's strategic orientation, cultural values, structures, processes, resource allocation, and behaviors. Anderson and Anderson, 2010. Burke, 2018. Organizational culture refers to shared basic assumptions, norms, and values that shape how work gets done within an organization. Shine. 2017. An organizational culture and transformation lens provide a strong theoretical foundation for understanding how to enhance DEI through system-wide changes. Ely and Thomas. 2020. Groisberg and Connolly, 2013. As discussed further below, cultural intelligence and inclusion must become defining attributes of how we do things around here, for DEI efforts to take root and endure. Initiatives cannot just be add-ons but must permeate a reimagined organizational way of operating. Reimagining strategic vision and leadership behaviors, the starting point for truly enhancing DEI initiatives through organizational transformation begins at the highest levels with reimagining a strategic vision that centers diversity, equity, and inclusion as core business imperatives and recalibrating leadership behaviors to model and champion the new vision. Strategic vision. Leadership must cognitively and emotionally recognize DEI not just as a compliance issue but as crucial to sustaining competitive advantage. Driving innovation and building an exceptional talent brand and culture in an increasingly diverse world, Herring. 2009. Ortiz and Martins, 2016. This strategic reframing necessitates revisiting mission and value statements to ensure DEI is prominently featured language, and integrating diversity metrics within performance scorecards used to evaluate business units and executives. Leadership behaviors. Walking the walk in service of the new vision requires leaders to hold themselves accountable for modeling inclusive behaviors and to champion DEI efforts authentically and enthusiastically. This means leaders engaging in ongoing cultural intelligence development. Listening sessions to better understand challenges from varied perspectives. Serving as mentors and sponsors for underrepresented groups. Addressing poor diversity practices transparently. And rewarding DEI performance within incentive structures, Ernst and Krobot Mason. 2011. Groisberg and Connolly, 2013. Kim and Scullion, 2013. Leadership behaviors shape culture. A reimagined strategic focus without aligned actions will stall transformation. Restructuring systems, processes, and resources. Sustained organizational change also depends on recalibrating the mechanisms that guide day-to-day operations and resource allocation to systematically facilitate DEI. Human resource systems. HR practices must be overhauled through an equity lens to attract, retain, and advance a diverse workforce. Emilian Hodges and Ackerman. 2021. Perdevance et al. 2008. This involves auditing job descriptions and hiring criteria for bias, implementing inclusive recruiting strategies, conducting salary equity studies, establishing mentoring programs, and instituting leadership accountability metrics around diversity promotion rates. Performance management. Review and reward processes should integrate DEI competencies. Set diversity-oriented goals and evaluate managers on fostering inclusion. Chin, DeSormo, and Sawyer, 2016. Metrics can track things like inclusive leadership, soliciting different perspectives, addressing microaggressions, and sponsoring underrepresented employees. Rewards should reinforce behaviors that drive cultural change. Resource allocation. Budgets and project assignments must prioritize DEI advancing initiatives rather than treating them as discretionary. This may entail dedicating staff and funds to diversity training, employee network groups, bias mitigation programs, and comprehensive talent development pipelines. Miller and Del Camino. 2000. Ortiz and Martins, 2016. Resourcing signals organizational commitment and facilitates systemic infusion of DEI values. Cultivating an inclusive culture. No transformation effort can succeed without attending to culture. Permanent DEI enhancement demands cultivating a psychologically safe, respectful culture where all individuals feel valued, respected, supported, and empowered to authentically contribute. Cultural intelligence training. Mandatory training builds awareness of cultural differences and aids capacity for bridging them. Alone and Higgins. 2005. Groisberg and Connolly, 2013. Programs instill cultural mindfulness, help-seeking, and sensitivity to microaggressions and unconscious biases affecting perceptions and interactions. Employee networks. Affinity networks offer support, mentorship, and safe community for underrepresented groups while enriching the overall culture through educational events and sponsorship of diverse suppliers partners. Herring. 2009. Colin, 2019. Leaders should visibly champion networks through active participation. Inclusive communication. Formal and informal interactions must model inclusion through inviting multiple perspectives, using respectful language and imagery, valuing employee input, addressing insensitive comments transparently, and circulating information equitably. Emilian Hodges and Ackerman. 2021. Managers set the tone through one-on-one check-ins, team meetings, and organization-wide town halls. Accountability. Structures like anonymous reporting, ombuds support, and inclusive leadership competency assessments reinforce that disrespect will not be tolerated while recognizing efforts that advance belonging. Whitmer and Hopkins. 2018. Combined with a just culture that focuses remediation on behavior change over punishment. This engenders psychological safety. Demonstrating commitment through action for organizational transformation to meaningfully enhance DEI initiatives. Commitment must be cemented through continual action, progress measurement, and earnest response to issues that arise. Lip service and passive support are not enough. Continuous improvement. Action planning facilitates ongoing enhancement through strategy refinement. Updated policies, processes, expanded training, new initiatives based on employee input. And increased manager accountability. Groisberg and Connolly. 2013. Randall et al. 2018. Leaders synchronize efforts across divisions and integrate DEI metrics within performance management. Progress tracking. Quantitative and qualitative data shine light on what is working and where more progress is needed through metrics like representation rates, salary equity analyses, turnover demographics, employee survey inclusion indices. 360-degree feedback on manager behaviors and focus groups exploring employee experiences. Herring. 2009. Miller and Del Camino. 2000. Responsiveness to issues. Commitment means surface-level issues are taken seriously, investigated impartially, addressed transparently, and followed through to ensure resolution and prevention of recurrence. Whitmer and Hopkins. 2018. Leaders acknowledge organizations' shortcomings candidly while celebrating victories. Maintaining ongoing sincerity builds trust that propels cultural evolution. Conclusion. Genuine organizational transformation represents the surest way for companies to meaningfully enhance DEI initiatives and deliver on diversity promises. But this level of change demands strategic reframing of DEI as a business imperative. Restructuring systems and resource allocation, cultivating a respectful culture fostering belonging. Measuring and demonstrating progress and responding earnestly when issues arise. Leadership sets the tone while employees shape culture, walking the walk day in and day out through aligned behaviors and authentic commitment to DEI values interwoven within fabrics of strategy. Structure and interaction are what sustain progress. For organizations willing to commit to the journey of continual betterment, the dividends of an inclusive culture that leverages diversity of thought for competitive advantage are well worth the effort.